Disclaimer. We are a reputable news agency found underwater. Believing us is like believing that the United Nations is corrupted and the European Union will be bailed out by Germany. Any similarities to actual people, companies, events, pets or cartoons are purely coincidental. And now, Bikini Bottom News.
Who lives in a pineapple under the sea?
I am SpongeBob, your special news reporter. Today, we will be looking at an issue that plagues many thousands of displaced persons worldwide, and an organization which claims to help them, the United Nations High Commission for Refugees, or UNHCR. A refugee is a person who has escaped from his country of origin and is unable or unwilling to return there due to the fear of persecution. So, what is UNHCR? It is an organization under the United Nations acting on its liberal principles to lead and coordinate international action for the worldwide protection and solution of refugee issue. The UNHCR has capitalized on its moral legitimacy to expand its own mandate. It mediates successfully between governments and refugees by conceptualizing a systematic framework of reintegrating and protecting the latter. We have our reporter, Mr. Krabs, to tell us the achievements of UNHCR.
There are key achievements of the UNHCR. Firstly, it is a mediator between government and refugees for the rights of refugees. This solves collective action problem and establish itself as a foremost authority regarding refugee issues. Secondly, it defines the scope of the responsibilities a state should undertake to protect the rights of refugees. The 1951 Refugee Convention, the 1967 Protocol, and the 1969 definition provided by Organization of African Unity, which is the present-day African Union, define these scopes. Thirdly, it developed three long-term solutions. A. Voluntary repatriation to the home country, which is the preferred option. B. Local integration in the country of asylum. And C. Resettlement in a third country.
For today, we at BBN bring you an exclusive insight to the failures of UNHCR, failures which have far outweighed its successes. UNHCR is constrained by its working definition of refugees. Its mandate plays a subordinate role to the self-interests of states. Now, to our sister network reporter, Jan Rivers, on the issue of Rohingya Burmese refugees.
This is no joyride. These people are not being towed out to sea for fun. They're being towed out to sea and then abandoned. These photos, evidence provided exclusively to CNN by someone in an operation allegedly run by Thailand's military to tow unwanted refugees out to sea with rice and water, but without paddles or engines, never to be seen again. Why would Thailand do that, and who are these people? They're unwanted Rohingya, a persecuted Muslim minority who fled the repression of Myanmar, formerly Burma, seeking freedom in Thailand. But instead, these photos show dozens of refugees detained on a Thai beach under armed guard.
Hold on, we have fresh news from our own reporter on the ground, Ms. Sandy Cheeks. She has fresh footage of the refugees at sea.
Rohingya refugees fleeing Burma were captured in Thailand and forced out in boats without paddles and motors and only basic amenities.
Refugees face many difficulties. 1. They have substandard living conditions in oppressive detention and refugee camps. 2. Those that do not attain refugee status are repatriated and shipped back to their home countries, sometimes against their wishes. 3. Among those in immigration camps, only a small minority obtain humanitarian visas and are allowed to be resettled. Others have no right to the protection of the host country.
In the new territories in Hong Kong, Vietnamese asylum seekers who are waiting for their refugee status to be processed by the UNHCR are placed in camps such as Whitehead Detention Centre. These detention camps resemble prisons and have poor living conditions. Children have little access to education. These camps are prone to outbreaks of violence.
Asylum seekers are also being rejected as refugees by asylum countries and even the UNHCR, without being given a fair opportunity to put forth their claim. This could be a matter of life and death for the asylum seeker. We now invite Dr. Sloth, the Executive Director of Human Rights Watch, to analyze the causes of the above situations. Good morning, Doctor. What are your thoughts?
Hello, SpongeBob. Well, refugees are perceived as a threat to the peace and stability of a homogeneous nation-state. They are viewed as a burden to the state resources and a threat to the ethnic composition in the country. Secondly, the broad definitions of the Refugee Convention allows differentiated interpretation of its term by states in accordance to their own interests. This limits the number of asylum seekers who are eventually given refugee status. Climate and economic refugees are deemed illegal refugees. Hence, definitions need to be further generalized. Thirdly, there is a lack of cohesive instruments to prevent states from breaching international laws regarding refugees. The Westphalian principle of sovereignty and non-interference allows states to turn away refugees for diplomatic reasons without tangible cost to itself.
So, Doctor, is there anything that can be done?
There are several ways to improve the situation. Firstly, increased advocacy efforts by the UNHCR could mobilize societal pressure to increase greater state participation in refugee efforts. Advocacy efforts such as education can also improve public acceptance of refugees and ensure that they are better integrated. Secondly, UNHCR should constantly review its policies to ensure the human rights of asylum seekers are not compromised, even before asylum seekers achieve their refugee status. Lastly, the UN could represent global opinion and admonish states that break the Refugee Convention. For this to be effective, the issue needs to be placed high on the media agenda to mobilize public pressure upon the government. It may also take concrete measures such as economic sanctions and penalties for those who break the Refugee Convention.
Thank you, Doctor. People, they need your help. What would you do?